Holy crap, guys, check this out. Our balcony view of Manhattan is just incredible. The Freedom Tower, the Statue of Liberty. No idea we were gonna have this view, no idea at all, but that is a great surprise. Good morning to you all and welcome to the channel. Hope that you guys are having a great day. Welcome to the video and to a massive, not only garage, but life update for myself. I am back. Number one, I am back. If you saw the title of last night's upload, I am in fact back in the US. I was gone on a 7-day Royal Caribbean cruise. It was awesome. I will show some footage from that in a bit. And really over the past, I've been gone really for like 2 weeks, and so much has happened in my personal life over those past 2 weeks. Number one, starting with this guy right here, who obviously was like in the bushes or something because there's stuff all over him. This guy right here, if you follow the Bulldog Instagram at 3 Bulls in a Pod, you may know that he basically had some major issues. He essentially, well, not essentially, he died 3 separate times over the past week. Now, I've had him ever since he was a little puppy. Literally since he came out of the womb. My mom had the mother dog, and I didn't really choose him, but he really chose me. He's just, ever since he was little, he's been attached to me at the hip, and he's like my son. And he is a Bulldog, as you can see. He's 10 years old now, and I'm very lucky to have him as long as I have. But he essentially, he stopped breathing last week. And we rushed him to the hospital. I do have footage of it, not because I was like, oh, I gotta film this, but because I wanted evidence for the doctors and wherever he was going next, wherever we were gonna take him. But his breathing was really labored, and he was, to make a long story short, he was exhibiting symptoms that I would say, if a human was doing it, I'd be saying they were having a stroke, is what it appeared to be. Look, here he is. And he basically fell over, he wasn't doing well. And then he stopped breathing at home, so we rushed him to the first ER, he just had like stroke symptoms. And then we rushed him to an animal emergency room, and they thought that he had a slip disc in his spine. So, you know, he was in pain, but not anything life-threatening. And it was really weird because you'd go up to touch him just like this, and he would scream in pain. Now, this dog, throughout his life, you know, I've stepped on his feet by accident, and he's never yelped in pain, ever, never. He just doesn't do that. Take him home from that, and this is a, you know, just skip to about probably 4 or 5 minutes in if you don't want to hear it, because I get it, it's a car channel, not a dog channel. But, you know, when something in my personal life is affecting the channel, I do talk about it, and it was definitely affecting. That's why, you know, I have not been uploading much at all. I filmed like 3 videos in a day, to try to get them out and to try to get some cool content for you. I tried to do as much as I could, and then I was super busy with all this stuff going on. So that was the first ER. He was having back pain or whatever, brought him home. The next morning is when he stopped breathing. So get him in per car. I'm driving like 100 miles an hour in this little Toyota. We rush him to the nearest animal emergency room where they have oxygen available. They put him on oxygen, they get him breathing again, they get a heart rate. And then they get him stable enough that we're gonna take him to a specialist in Westchester, oddly enough, right by McLaren, Philadelphia. It's a place called Hope, and they are an amazing place to get anything done with your dog. They're really great. We called them and they said, you know, if he's got these breathing problems, we don't have a respirator here. So if he stops breathing, we might not be able to save him if he can't breathe at all on his own. So you should take him to UPenn, the University of Pennsylvania Veterinary Medicine in Philadelphia. So after he was at this second ER for about like 5 hours, I get a bunch of bags of ice, put it in the Duramax. I put the AC on ice cold as it will go. We load him up and we make the trip to UPenn. But we didn't make it. He started having really labored breathing on the way up there. We were about 45 minutes, 50 minutes into the turnpike in PA. And sorry for the wind noise here, I'm gonna move. Anyway, back to the point, we made it about 50 minutes in and he started having his labored breathing, and we're like, you know, he's not gonna make it. He's a Bulldog has trouble breathing as it is, when they have labored breathing, it's a really, really bad sign. And of course, he had already stopped breathing once. So we were like, we're just gonna go to Hope. They can get him stable again. That will buy us enough time to go to Philadelphia. So they take him in, they're gonna take him overnight. We come back home. I gotta give a huge shout out to, of course, all the vets involved, and I'll talk about that in a second, but also to Troy, because Troy lent me his oxygen tank that he has for his migraines. And I'm sure that's like not even legal to do because you have to have a prescription. But when we were preparing to move him from Hope Veterinary to UPenn, we took her car, we got bags of ice, we had Troy's oxygen tank. You know, the fact that I was like, where the hell could I get an oxygen tank to make it easier for him to breathe if he stops breathing or if he can't breathe or whatever. And Troy came to mind. I was like, I think he has one. And Troy was down to help. So Troy, big shout out to him. Troy Sowers, a real friend that, you know, I really needed help, and he was right there for me. So we made a little makeshift ambulance out of the CHR, and we got him into UPenn. Again, I've already said this like twice, but long story short, I'll try to make it actually short. They saved his life, multiple surgeries to open up his airway, multiple surgeries on his throat, his nose, and even his brain, believe it or not, which is really crazy. And he does have slight paralysis on the right side of his face. You can notice that he's a little droopy here, and he will have to have surgery on his eye as well, and on his ear. So basically, I mean, he was in really bad shape, as you can see, but he's my buddy, and he's you know, mentally, he's all there, and he's just exactly as he ever was. He's having a great time. He's loving. He basically lives for food, and he can eat just fine, and he's doing great. So he's actually doing really well. And you can see he's getting around fine, and he's a Bulldog, so it's not like, you know, he's moving awfully slow. Like, that's totally normal. He's been walking this slow since he was like 2 years old. So he's doing great. And a big shout out to Troy, and of course all the vets and doctors there. The surgeons at UPenn are the best in the world, and you know, I have them to thank. So that was a shortened story, but that was over. Look at how cute he is. Basically, I went from like one of the worst weeks of my life to a pretty good, relaxing week on vacation. And it was really fun. It was my girlfriend's birthday. And again, there are pictures on Instagram if you want to check them out. I uploaded a few, but that's where we're at. So now I'm back. I can start uploading again. But through all that, I had like 4 or 5 videos, including the delivery video for Rich, which he was out waxing his car earlier this morning. I don't know where he went, but he was waxing the Corvette. I had like 4 or 5 videos saved up that I was going to upload over that time. I had no idea this was going to happen, but I did know about the vacation, so I had some saved up. And then I bought the most expensive internet you could buy on the ship, which was like $350 for the week. And I got one video uploaded. The other one I was uploading for it was like 27 or 28 hours. I had my laptop open and was like uploading the video, and I was only at 59%. I was like, you know, screw this. I can't. My poor laptop, like, I can't have it running this long for days to upload, and the internet on, for whatever reason, you know, humanity, we're pretty freaking good with everything, but when you're at sea, you just can't get internet to work. The good news is he's doing great, and now for a little garage update. So the Duramax, if you didn't see last night's upload, it does in fact have the rack back on it. I cleaned up everything. Another windy day here though. It really sucks. I'm gonna try to cup my hands around the GoPro, but the rack is back on with the whips and the full-size spare. I cleaned up everything underneath the truck. The truck is now fully undercoated, good to go. So the Duramax is right where I want it to be. That brings us back to the garage, which you might notice over there. We have a big ass light bar from my friends over at Armored Lighting. This is actually a company I bought a light bar from before. Armored Lighting, check them out. They reached out to me and said, if you want a light bar for the Blazer, we would love to send one, and they did. So we got a big light bar for the Blazer, which is going to be installed soon. The Blazer is still good to go, chilling. My daily driver, I drove it the day we got home, and it's still running great. No leaks, it doesn't even leak. It's been sitting for a week. I will forever be amazed at how well the Blazer drives, and just it's such a great vehicle for $1,500. The Cat, by the way, is spoken for. I had about 400 people message me and email me and everything else. I do have a guy coming for the Cap. Unfortunately, I had to go away on my trip. That's why you've seen it in every upload, but it is spoken for, and now that I'm home, I can get it delivered to that guy. And there he goes, off into the landscaping where he loves to be. Now for the big one, the big update, the one that everybody is always asking about and they won't stop, and that is the Grandpa Corvette, which should be right here in the middle bay, which I understand, you know, I want to see the car back as well, especially now that the weather is nice. And a lot of people, I've tried to explain this before, and a lot of people don't get it. They keep asking, like, why is it taking 6 months to do this? Well, the problem is that I was going to send it to LMR and try to have them rush it to get done for the call out that I hosted back in October. And then when they said, well, we can get it to you, but it's not gonna be like, it's not gonna be right. I figured, well, why rush that? Why not just get it built right and have it for this whole season rather than trying to race it one time, something goes wrong, then I'm out more money and more time and everything else. Literally, and one of the reasons why it's still there, even though we're like 99% on the car right now, that is the update I can give you. Here are some pics. Powertrain, all done. Engine and trans, that's in, good to go. Fuel system is done. ECU is done. Most of the little odds and ends are done. In fact, the only thing we are waiting on still is a few little suspension components, and that's it. The car is, I mean, it could be driven today. And to be honest, it's been pretty much ready to drive for a while now, and I haven't taken it because, again, the weather has been bad, and they very nicely offered to store the car for me. Picture it like this. They got the car in mid-October, which just about around that time, drag strips around here are closing. And that leaves November, December, January, February, and March, where it's all pretty much too cold to drive it. And now that we're in April here, like the first month where I could drive it, now I'm providing updates and the car is getting done. So that, hopefully that makes sense. One more, a vehicle that I do in fact own, believe it or not, I do still own the Volkswagen Corrado, which I am storing that at Shane's. That's why you haven't seen that car. It is being stored there for the winter because I didn't feel like having it take up all the space. But the trans swap is being done on that. And that one's a whole different story. That one, I still don't care when it gets done. I have no worries about it. I got a lot of other stuff going on. I did not get rid of it. So I still got, actually technically I got 2 Corrados. I got the black one and the green one, but we'll say one because the black one is a donor car. We got the Blazer, we got the Duramax, we got the 720, and we got the Grandpa Vet. We have 5 vehicles in the fleet right now. Back to the cruise. Again, a really, really awesome time, a great way to spend her birthday, and you know, a much needed stress-free week after the week that I had previous to that. We were on Anthem of the Seas, and by the way, I did have 4 people come up to me on the boat and ask me if I was in fact Mike, Street Speed 717, and I said, yes, I am, and we had a great time talking. So I appreciate you guys coming up and saying hi. Every cruise I've been on, at least one person has come up, and that was a ship with 4,000 passengers, and we got 4 people. So with that math, we got about 1 out of every 1,000 people on a cruise ship will recognize me. It was fun. We were on Anthem of the Seas. It does have a really cool, it's called the North Star, and it's like a big ball that goes way up in the air, and you can see everything over the ship.
Can we match now? Sorry. Not yet.
We are still going.
We went to Royal Caribbean's island, Coco Cay. We did some awesome snorkeling where we saw, you know, some really good wildlife, some good stuff for just snorkeling. I myself am a scuba diver, so I prefer to dive when I can, but with the whole family, nobody else is a diver, so I don't, you know, I just snorkel and I go dive by myself. So it was great wildlife for snorkeling. We saw a couple parrotfish, some other cool stuff. And then right at the very end, I turn around and I'm like my girlfriend is like from me to the car. And I'm over here messing around, and I turn around, And right behind her, I'm talking like a foot behind her, if that, is a beautiful eagle ray, just a huge eagle ray. And I turned around, I said, and she was holding the GoPro, and I said, babe, turn the GoPro on, look behind you. She turns around. I thought she was gonna freak out, but she didn't. She just kind of like froze and couldn't believe it. Super rare to see one. And I know like there's exhibits, you can see stuff like this and you can have experiences and all that, but to see one in the wild without a net, you know, without a barrier, just out in the wild, I think is really cool and really rare. So like for me, to that car was an eagle ray. Beautiful, beautiful creature. I'm a huge enthusiast of like ocean life. I love it. I love diving, love the whole thing. It's great. There's an update, a quick update. Tried to make it quick. I feel like it's going to be like 20 minutes long, but a quick update on my life, my trip, and my garage. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching. Take care and have a great night.